Hoka, hey, Alita Army. Welcome to the Alita Livestream of April the 19th, 2024. Alita Army Q&A and other topics where we discuss all things to do with the movie Alita Battle Angel, the source manga Gundam, and the greatly desired sequels. I am your host, Creek Indian from Denver, Colorado. And from Deutschland, we have our guest here right now. We only have one guest, and that would be Smendrick 19. How's it going, Smendrick and B. Gates?
Hello all together. Thanks for asking. How are you? Hope you are fine.
Yes, we're doing good here in Colorado. It's a little bit rainy. And I think, didn't you tell me pre-stream it was raining there as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, we got a pretty decent show. Well, hopefully all our shows are pretty decent at least. So we're gonna, and so we'll have a couple other folks. I think Angelus is just running late. I don't know if he's working or not. But anyway, and Vladi is not going to be able to make it because he sent me a DM saying that he had something to do. So but anyway, yeah. So anyway, Smendrick and I were talking pre-stream, and he wanted me to give Vladi a DM. So I can give him a DM. I don't know if he's there right now, but I'll send him a DM. If you just tell me what it is, because you're not on X, are you?
I'm not longer on X.
Yeah.
They
blackballed you.
Shadow banned me. So
okay.
Expression for a few months. I didn't know that, and then they sent me a very strange warning about. Angelus is here.
Yeah, he is. Good day, mate.
And
yeah, go ahead, Smendrick.
Yeah. And so I decided to stop my activities and delete the account. So now I can't reach.
You're on Blue Sky, right?
Yeah, I'm on Blue Sky, but they still don't have direct messaging and animated GIFs and videos, inlay videos and whatever.
Yeah.
And the development is ongoing.
Yes.
So one day they will have all these things. As Twitter, but it lasts.
I'm gonna have to check that out. I'm gonna have to get a user ID on that anyway.
Yeah, it's fine. It's the good thing is you can decide if your skeets, they call it skeets, the tweets.
Yeah.
You can decide whether your skeets are only can be seen by users logged into Blue Sky.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Or if you your skeets will be seen by everyone. So you can make it public, even if you are not logged in or a user of Blue Sky.
Oh, okay, cool.
And very interesting features. It's a small community.
Okay.
X has around 460 million users. And they only have still have around 5.5 million users.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So your range is very close.
Okay.
But Twitter started in the same position years ago. So let's see.
Angelus? Yeah, Angelus, how's everything going down there in Brisbane and Queensland, Australia, mate?
Just shopping for suitcases now.
Ah, excellent. Yeah, Angelus and I are going to team up, and we're going to invade Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to do.
Hello, Angelus.
And
Guten
we got,
Morgen.
Guten Morgen. No, it's Guten Abend now, where he is.
Yeah. It's evening, well, night, midnight.
Yeah, Guten Nacht. Yeah, that's right. Chaos Nova from Mentor, Ohio. Hello, Chaos. We haven't seen you for a while, man.
Well, business calls.
Yes, I hear you. Yeah, we all have work to do, don't we? Yeah, Finn out there.
Do.
Finn's checking our Germans, Mendrick. He says Guten Nacht. Yeah, that's right. Grüß Gott, Finn.
Gute Nacht, but you won't say Gute Nacht. You have to say either good morning.
Yeah.
Now it's 6 minutes after or 7 minutes after midnight here. And hello to Chaos.
Yeah. So what's happening on your channel these days, Chaos?
Well, I'll start uploading more things soon. I just, busiest time of the year.
Yes. Yeah, Smendrick and I were talking about that pre-stream. Tax season coupled with everything else makes it very, very busy.
It does.
So, yeah. So anyway, if you want, check out Chaos's channel. I really like his videos, particularly when he plays Martian Memory. I really like that. So it's especially now, Chaos, that you're playing it when you do play it in English. Now you can kind of understand it a little better, So Cinesand, he says Guten Nacht from the UK. So it is still night in the UK, but it's morning. It's Guten Morgen I guess in the you were right, Angelus. It was Guten Morgen, wasn't it?
It is in the future.
That's right. That's right. Smendrick is in the future now.
Yeah,
that's right.
In Australia. Right. Cool. How is the weather there?
Yeah, what's going on down there, Angelus?
What's going on in?
I can't tell every time I look outside that my eyes are burning. So it'll be bright and sunny.
Nice.
Okay.
Being a night creature and watching the lead into the
must be autumn. Must be autumn there now, right?
At the moment, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, anyway, before we get to the main topic, I just want to cover about 3 or 4 or 5 things here. We do have us Alita Army types. We do have Rosa Salazar's Queen Studios Alita bust. It's still in the box in pristine condition. The Creek has not opened it up because I promised Staravellian I would not open it. So anyway, and I haven't opened it. Now, when we do eventually get to present her with this, I will open it just to make sure it's okay. It'd be embarrassing to present her something that was broken. So, so that's, what we want to do there. But anyway, that thing is sitting in my house right now. And we want to present this to Rosa as an expression of our admiration and affection, because we really think the world of Rosa. She's number one, at least in the top 3 in all of our books, I guess, in the Alita Army. So hopefully if Rosa sees this, she'll know that maybe she knows it already, that we do have this. And this is our Alita Army presentation to her as though she was getting an Oscar. So it's not an Oscar, obviously, but it's certainly something that's close to our hearts, and we definitely want to give it to her. Hello, channel does not exist.
Hi.
From Poland, not the Czech Republic. I'm sorry, I almost messed up
No, I'm
there.
not from Czechia.
Yeah.
Hello, channel.
Okay, so anyway, there's the presentation we want to give to Rosa. Also, I want to remind everybody we got the Alita sequel petition going on right now. We've got it's plugging along every week. I think we've added something like maybe 5 or 6 signatures over the past week. I mean, that's not a whole lot, but we really haven't been promoting it like we should be. So it is still moving along pretty good, considering, you know, that the Creek needs to start posting that on X and Reddit, and I guess I can go on Blue Sky now, can't I, Smendrick, if I get a user ID over there. So just let we want Disney to know that we want this sequel, and you've got a vast army that will help you promote this, you know, the sequel. We will definitely do that. So you've got 178,000 PR people that can spread the word for you if you greenlight the sequel.
Great.
Also, we got the Hero Arm campaign going on, and we didn't get any money in it this past week, but we're doing okay in the money department. I think we've got something like $4,200, something over $4,200 in the bank, and that doesn't include the $1,040, I believe it is, we have as a refund for the plane we didn't get to fly over the Oscars because of the weather was bad. The conditions were too dangerous to fly. So all in all, we've got well over $5,000. And we got another Alita Army organization meeting on Monday. And we're going to talk about that just a little bit more, you know, just to make sure everybody knows. We kind of haven't decided yet whether we want to. I say kind of haven't decided. We've tentatively decided on flying a plane around Disney 23, but we're not sure about it yet. Not absolutely sure about it yet, but we'll talk about that again later. So anyway, if you haven't given any money, no amount's too small. If you find the GoFundMe site to be a little intimidating, you see the link there on the screen. It's also down in the description below the screen here. There's a tip jar down there also that you can put money. No amount's too small. And every dime of that money goes into the Hero Arm campaign. Now, the Creek actually got on Mr. H Reviews live stream and asked a couple of questions about Alita. And I think in this particular case, I sent him a super chat that said, hey, if Disney greenlights the sequel, I said should. I probably should have said, would they let 20th Century Studios do it, or who else? And I think the consensus on the panel here was that if Disney does greenlight the sequel, it will probably Lightstorm will take the will take the lead on it, because that is, I think, James Cameron's studio, I think. So although, I mean, they did do Avatar, you know, was a Disney or a 20th Century Studios thing. So I don't know, it's kind of up in the air, but these guys who seem to be pretty credible, you know, in terms of, their information and that kind of stuff, they suggested it would probably be Lightstorm, you know, with Disney playing a role for sure, because they own the rights. I also asked in another stream, gave them another super chat that said, hey, if Disney does greenlight the sequel, I said probably, even if they started now, it'd probably be 2026 before it got released. But what was the panel's thoughts about a release date? And they were unsure of that. I guess Mr. H in the upper left-hand corner you see there, and the other two on the right-hand side, they were open to a release, but they weren't sure when it would happen, because, you know, a lot of things have got to come in, got to get synced up, you know, because the actors have got to be available and stuff like that. And one guy said, the guy on the lower left, he didn't believe we'd get a sequel because he said that it didn't make enough money and that Rosa Salazar was getting a little older. But of course, then we kind of countered with that, saying, well, you know, Sigourney Weaver was 70 years old and she played a teenager. So, I mean, you know, that was my thought anyway. But anyway, they were all four of these.
And if the movie happens post time, if they somehow shove in a time skip, as in Alita taking really long to climb up the ranks, she shouldn't be a teenager anyway.
Yeah,
plus you can say she just changed out her face so people will take her seriously because, again, total replacement cyborg.
Yeah, it could be, but if they pick up where the story left off, she still would be like, what, 19 years old or something like that. So
yeah, she's CGI,
maybe early 20s.
She's CGI, so you don't really see the actress's face anyway.
No, that's one of them. I think it was the guy there you see with the long beard. He said, well, you know, it is CGI, so it doesn't matter how old she is, you know.
You
but
just
anyway,
need someone to motion capture.
Yeah, that's right. All four of them, though, did like the movie. I mean, even the guy that didn't believe we'd get a sequel, you know, he still liked the movie. He thought it was a good movie. And Mr. H really liked it too, you know. So anyway, I like this guy's stream. And I like his content. He does a good job on doing reviews and stuff like that. And you know, I watch it to get some information out of it, you know. But it also, by me posting on this, it gives him a little bit of money, and it gets our word out there too, because he's approaching 400,000 subscribers. So you know, he's got a pretty big channel, you know, especially compared to my channel. He's got a big channel, you know. So you know, so I thought, you know, but I do the super chat because I kind of want to get their opinion on things too, as well as promote our girl. So anyway, it's funny, the guy in the beard, he just calls me Creek, you know, which is pretty good. You know, I like that was personalized just a little bit, you know. So okay, guys, I guess that said, I guess we can start with questions, and I got a bunch of them up here, but we're not limited to the questions a Creek come up with. If one sparks, and anybody on the panel here, if one sparks a memory or a thought and you want to ask, certainly bring it up. Anyone in the chat, if you have a question, you know, put it down there and we'll display it on the screen and we'll talk about that when we get there. But anyway, you know, questions from the chat will certainly be addressed as they come in. The first question, I guess, would be, did Alita make enough money? Now, I guess the follow-on with that, make enough money to do what? You know, did it make enough money to make a profit? The answer is yes. Did it make enough money to get a sequel? The question would be maybe, you know. What beer? What beer am I shouting, Creaky, in Austin? I kind of, Angelus, I kind of like stouts. You know, I like what Smendrick would call Dunkless is what I like. So
yeah,
real heavy beer, you know, real heavy beer is what I like. So I don't like lager. You know, it's too light for me. But anyway, that's yeah, I promised Angelus that when we get into Austin, even though I got a competition coming up about 3 weeks after that, I will definitely have a beer, you know, with it, maybe two, you know, but it's going to be a stout, you know. So, and Angelus likes cider, so I guess I'll buy him a cider, you know. So anyway, we'll kind of trade off on that one. So anyway, thoughts, Smendrick, did Alita make enough money, you think?
Yeah, as you told us, it's the question, for what? What did they really expect at the time of planning the movie? And we have to make differences after the merger. It's understandable from my point of view. If Disney says it isn't enough money because you have plans with a merger. The plans are to make very, very much money. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so they told to the company who is merged, which is merged, make more money, make more money, make more money. Stop projects that didn't make enough money in the past few years. Okay, so
we really need Charlie here for this one, don't we? I guess because he
he has
it.
the figures. He has the current figures, but we cannot assess these figures really.
Well, I know the Alita's budget was $170 million, but
that's and they are worth every penny.
Yeah. Oh, I think so. But Alita, even though her budget was 170 million, she grossed 404 million. She got 132 million, I think it is, in Blu-ray sales, and she got 25 million from the government of New Zealand as a grant. So I mean, it's like Lita Calligridis said, maybe it wasn't a box office, kind of blowout like, folks like Disney, they want to make $1 billion on every movie, and it wasn't that, but it did make money, I don't know.
That's
and I can't imagine the promotion money was that great because they did not promote it. I only saw maybe 2 trailers on it the whole time.
Yeah, same here in Europe. Channel will agree with this, maybe. What do you think?
They started hanging up. They usually start hanging up posters for a movie like a month or two, about a month before they release the movie in theaters. For Alita, they only started hanging up posters when the movie was already in theaters.
Yeah,
that's so sad.
Which is weird because.
Yeah, the first.
This is a very high budget movie. Why would you? Funnel so much funds into something that you're not going to properly promote.
Yeah, there's been some conjecture on that, in that Disney didn't want. See, Disney, there was in the process of a merger, from what I understand. Now, certainly, I'm not an insider. I don't know doodly squat about this, but from what I've heard, they didn't want the IPs to be too expensive because they were buying out 20th Century Fox, so it would up the price, if they did. So anyway, that's one I heard. Now, I don't know if it's true or not. Maybe it's not. So anyway, Angelus, what do you think about Alita's, what she made and all that kind of stuff? Any thoughts?
Yeah, I did, but then I lost it again. Early morning effect.
Okay.
Like the only thing I can think of is I thought the merger had already been. It might not have. Again, I don't know, but I thought it was already at least signed, so to speak, by the time of her release.
Oh, okay. So yeah.
I mean, it might not be. Like I said, I don't know the exact dates and timings of it all, but either way, the fact that it was clearly sabotaged in the media, as Vladdy would say, it's
well, I'd also heard that I guess that all the marketing people or the PR people at 20th Century Fox had actually all left by the time the merger was done, so they didn't have anybody to do any promotion, So, and I guess Disney didn't take it on to do it themselves, So I also heard that. So anyway.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how the Alita Army was born.
Yeah, that's right. I would say one thing about folks that think that just money is all it means to make a sequel, because I recall a movie. Now, you folks in the Elite Army know that I'm pretty ancient in a lot of ways, but I would say back in the year 1960, there was a movie that came out called The Magnificent Seven, and it had some really old actors in it. Probably most of you wouldn't know who they are. Yul Brynner, Steve McQueen, Charles Bronson.
Well, I know some of them. I know some of them from other films. I know Yul Brynner because he was Pharaoh in the Ten Commandments, and Steve McQueen. Right. I've seen Bullet, Great Escape. Yeah.
And I guess Brad Dexter was in it, and Horst Buchholz, and all these folks were in it, and they had and Eli Wallach was in it, and they had a good cast there, but it bust in the box office. It just literally did very poorly, You know, I mean, it certainly did, you know. And, you know, by today's standard, if it did that poorly, they'd say, nah, there's no way it's going to get a sequel, you know. But they did 3 sequels after that. They did a reboot in the 90s. Well, it wasn't a reboot. It was more of a series, but it was kind of a reboot series in the 90s. And then, of course, more recently, Denzel Washington and Chris Pratt and others were in the reboot from 2017, I want to say. Somewhere in there had Vincent D'Onofrio in it also. And it did pretty well, you know. So there's a case there where the original movie didn't do very well at all, but they got, you know, 3 sequels, a series, and another reboot in the 20 teens. So, you know, I think just saying it didn't make enough money is not it. I don't think that's the only factor. I think the factor that has to come into play for Disney to greenlight it is they got to be convinced that it will make more money next time, and I think it will. You know, because they've, you know, when the movie came out in 2019, there wasn't an Alita army. Now there is. So they got that going for them, you know, plus they've got Cameron, Rodriguez, Landau, and Rosa Salazar all want it, you know. So I think it's got plenty of impetus behind it, but it's just got maybe another hurdle or two to get over. Now, it may take some time, because one of the things they pointed out in Mr. H reviews is that Jim Cameron's sequels seem to be many years in between. You think about Avatar coming out in 2009 or 2009, and then the sequel coming out in 2022. That's 13 years, you know. If that holds 13 years, if that's the magic number, then Alita 2 won't come out till 2032, you know. Now I hope that's not the case, you know. But
I'm sorry, but there's some kind of background beeping, and it's not, and when I muted the computer, it was gone, but when the speaker is on, there's background beeping. So it's coming from somewhere in the stream.
I can't hear it.
Not from me. I'm muted.
Yeah, I don't hear anything. I don't not hear anyway.
Yeah, I don't hear this beeping.
I have a faint background beeping, and I would have assumed it's somewhere in my house, but I muted the computer and there was no beeping. And the computer, I turned the sound back on and there's this muted beeping.
Well, we'll just keep our ears out for it. Our ears peeled, as they would say, the channel to see, because it might be my chair is squeaking. That might be what it is. So yes, Mendrick agrees with me, I guess, on the money thing. Yeah, that is a hurdle right there. Is Bob Iger? He seems, you know, he seems reticent to release a sequel on Alita. Although I hear now that they're going to re-release. Oh my gosh, what was it I saw today that it was on Mr. H reviews, as a matter of fact, Snow White. And they're already messing it up. So, and it hadn't even got off the runway yet, and they're still it's not even barely in development. They're already screwing up. So, and of course, I had also asked them in one of those streams about Captain America 4, and they said it's going to be a disaster. That's what they thought. And I've seen some other critics say that as well, because of the problems they've had, and they don't seem to be well organized and that kind of stuff. So I don't know. So I kind of agree with you there, Bad Man, that Bob Iger may be one of the hurdles, you know. So anyway, that's the way that is.
There's the unfortunate possibility that Disney just doesn't want to make an Alita sequel, isn't planning into it, and won't even look through how much money it could potentially make, because Alita isn't a franchise it bought to make more money off it. It's a franchise it bought to make sure it doesn't become competition. Story, because whatever story they would have wanted to go with Alita, they could just, if they have any original ideas, they're gonna shove that into Star Wars or some other franchise they own that's already more developed. They didn't, like I said, they didn't buy Alita to make more money of it or to develop it to make their own. They just bought it so no one else could touch it.
Yeah.
And so it wouldn't become competition.
But I think, you know, my thought, I do agree with you on that channel, why they bought it. They bought it so that some other studio wouldn't, you know, kind of, you know, beat them over the head with it, you know, basically. But I do think, though, if they keep, you know, just failing on their movies, they don't fail on every movie, but a lot of the movies they've been putting out lately have been doing horrible. I mean, Ant-Man 2 didn't do very well, or 3, was it 3? Ant-Man Quantumania or whatever that thing was called. It didn't do very well. The Marvels was an absolute disaster. It actually lost money, you know. I mean, if you stacked, you know, the Marvels up against Alita, at least Alita made a profit, you know. The Marvels did not. They lost money, you know. So,
but the more terrible financial decision Disney makes, that's, I mean, old Disney, yeah, they did I think Cinderella because they were on the verge of bankruptcy. Current Disney, the more bad financial decisions make, it doesn't encourage them to try new things. It just makes them more desperate to things that they have a certainty will make some money. So it makes them cling to the dreaded CGI remakes because as much as everybody hates them, people still go to see them. Or just to franchises that they know will make money without doing extra math. So franchises that are already developed, and those keep flopping because Disney makes too many movies at the same time, and none of them get any, and none of them get enough attention.
Yeah.
Right, but I'm the type of audience for the like 9 remakes of something from the 80s or 90s. I'm not staying young. Okay, I'm gonna be, I don't know, I'll be hitting 40 in a couple of years, and I'm only getting older from there.
You're a kid, Chaos, compared to me.
But even I'm not going to be interested in remakes from the 90s.
Yeah.
I can't be interested forever.
I agree with you on that. Yeah, they can't keep doing that. Bad Man has a good point, and to his point, at the end of 2022, Disney, you know, when Avatar came out, it grossed $2.3 billion, and by the end of the year last year, they had a net loss of $1.2 billion. And I don't know how the hell you do that. I don't know how you make $2.3 billion at the beginning of the year and end up with a loss of $1.2 billion. Just bad decision making, I guess. But anyway, my thought is, if you say, did Alita make enough money? The thought is kind of like we were saying a while ago, to do what? Now, what I would say about Alita was it made a profit. It was not a flop, you know, kind of like you've seen probably some of the critics say, you know, it wasn't a flop. It made money, you know. And the fact is,
Disney doesn't care it's not a flop, because if it's not 100% guaranteed money, it's not a flop, and Disney's just, okay, whether it doesn't matter if it flops or not. What matters is that competition doesn't get that money. But they prefer if it was a success for them. But what's most important is that competition doesn't get that.
Well, the whole thing is, though, is they own the IP. They could release the movie and make money on it, and nobody else. It wouldn't be competition. So I don't know.
Again, do you want to have an Alita movie developed at the same quality as recent Disney movies?
I would say you would want any movie that had a good quality be released, no matter what other movies you were releasing, because it makes you money. That's what I would say. You know,
have Disney's recent movies been overall good?
I can't name one.
What's the last really good Disney movie? Because most people would jump to Encanto.
Yeah, I agree. Okay,
so if Alita has a franchise that will probably make money, but isn't an immediate guarantee of amazingness, and isn't even one of their main franchises, if they made an Alita movie, there's a good chance it will get the sidetracked treatment like the Indiana Jones revival no one wanted to see.
Boy,
I'd probably disagree with that, because creatively Cameron is the one in control of it, because he's the one that
that's the one saving
the money.
grace of the. I mean, Rodriguez is the main saving grace, but.
Well, Cameron's kind of up to his ears in alligators right now doing avatars. So I think that's a contributing factor as well. But Cameron does want to make an Alita sequel. He definitely, or sequels. He does want to do it. So maybe it's just a matter of time.
I think Disney has different standards for different IPs.
I think so. Yeah.
Their own IPs can have a lower quality. I don't want to discuss it in details. They can make not so much money even in the business plans, and whatever we would call lower standards. But on all other IPs, they have so high expectations that I'm afraid that they either archive all these IPs. Yeah, I wouldn't say they will kill it, but they put it in a
in the queue.
Safe. In a queue.
That's right.
In a very long queue. Okay.
Yeah. Bad Man says, if it's broken, can't we just turn it off and turn it back on?
Yeah, because it's main. Because
great.
Again, Disney fans, it's the main franchises. They can be crap, and people will still go to see it. But the side franchises are kind of riskier because as much as the Alita Army is big, it's nowhere near as big as the fandoms for the main Disney franchises. So the actual guaranteed audience isn't as big as.
Well, I don't think there's any guarantees. I mean, any movie you make is subject to flop or do great. I mean, it's either way.
Yeah,
all I know is
if there's a movie, if you put out the movie with the word Marvel on it, there's already a bunch of people that will go because but it connects to the Marvel universe. So the amount of people that will go regardless of quality just because of the branding is way smaller for Alita than for the other for the other franchises.
I think there's also something too. Like, I mean, Marvel for a while was an event with Thanos, and it isn't quite an event like it used to be. I mean,
yeah, that's true.
I mean, there's supposedly a goal, I guess, for some other big Avengers event, but before Thanos, there was a focus, there was a direction of what they were going to go for. The other thing to think about, though, is just because the film doesn't give you a good box office doesn't mean it doesn't sell toys.
Yeah, that's right.
Theme parks. Those are big. Those are a revenue thing for Disney too. The toys selling and the theme parks.
Yeah, and the games. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but they don't really sell too many Alita toys. I'm not saying they don't sell any, but there's not much Alita toys and figurines to make money from merch.
I think if they made a sequel, it will be. Anyway, I think we hit this one good enough. Let's move on.
I mean, imagine a dishwasher safe Growishka figurine with working meat grinders.
That might be dangerous for kids. Channel.
I said dishwasher safe, so you can also use it in the kitchen.
All right. Well, anyway, let's move on. Well, this is kind of the same thing, so I guess we can continue. What incentives does Disney have to greenlight Alita sequels?
Well, a lot of the, again, it sort of continues on from previously, but moving in this direction. A lot of the movies and shows that are doing well are like non-franchise and IPs. Like, for example, I mean, it's not doing amazingly well, but it definitely profited. But the most recent movie I watched was the horror movie First Omen. Also watched the last episode of Shogun, which is a Disney Plus series specifically, and that's definitely not, what one would traditionally associate with Disney.
Right.
So all these like what you would call non-traditional IPs are doing well. and they're I mean, outside of the first Omen, they're non-reboots.
Right,
remakes
and not only
all that
that,
other
but
stuff.
there are some things that don't have a long series behind them, like Barbie or Super Mario Brothers didn't have a series of films behind them yet.
Yeah.
And those are the
But they
top
had a
2
massive
films.
franchise.
Well, Cinesanity has a good thought there about, you know, and one of the things that I think I've seen also by critics is that anime adaptations don't do well as a general rule. Now, I think Alita did fairly well. I mean, once again, it wasn't a box office blowout. It wasn't that, but it definitely it was probably the best anime, or rather manga adaptation ever. But Western films seem to have a hard time pulling that off, don't they? A manga IP, they definitely seem to struggle with that. So,
I guess to answer the question directly, in a manner of speaking, is that because what you guys mentioned earlier about Alita not having as much merch, I think it was a channel that said that. excuse me, but because Alita doesn't have much in the way of merch, is that there's a lot of potential for there to be merch, and the home cinema sales prove that. Because for something that doesn't have a lot of merch, as I just mentioned, it made quite a decent killing, metaphorically speaking, in the home cinema sales. So imagine if they just made if they struck a deal with Mattel, and like, how many of us would buy like a cheap Alita figurine, or I've got multiple copies of the pop vinyls now. And like all these other like knickknacks and paraphernalia. How many of us would like have multiple like cardboard containers of popcorn just because it has a liter on the side, or drink cups? You know, I've still got drink cups from movies like Pokemon and Top Gun Maverick and all that other jazz. I mean, I'd chuck them all out just to make room for like the 20 liter cups that I would have ended up buying. Hell, I'd probably go to the cinema just to buy popcorn and Coke, just to buy the Alita merch. But I mean, you get the idea. There's so much potential there that, and that's just like on the merch side. You know, yes, there is already a game, but without sort of hyping it up and going in a different direction, like there's the whole Stellar Blade thing. Even the creator of that game has said that Alita was a direct influence on it. So the Avatar game did decently well. It didn't make like a killing like in comparison to say Baldur's Gate or Final Fantasy, but it still made money, and it's still a fairly decent game too. So again, the coming back to that, or coming back around full circle, is that there's just so much potential for such an unknown IP.
Yeah. Well, I think the incentive for Disney may come down to this. If they keep releasing bad movies, you know, movies that don't make money, or don't, you know, like say Ant-Man Quantumania or the Marvels or something like this, and this Deadpool 3 is going to be a good movie. I am so sure it's going to be a really good movie, but they are banking on it reviving the MCU, and I have my doubts about that. But if they keep making movies that are not doing well, the shareholders aren't going to like that. So, you know, that stock price, you know, the stock price was down for a long time. It's back up now, though. It's back up over where it was about a couple of years ago. And that's probably one thing that the shareholders are probably, you know, they're probably tolerating some things because their stock price is up, you know. But if they keep making bad movies, it's going to have a financial impact on them. Then they're going to have to make a decision. You know, if they come to realize, if eventually, and this is an if, if they realize that the MCU is not going to make them any money. When they come to that realization, they got to turn somewhere else. They can't keep doing the same IP that's not making money. You know, that's not going to work. And I think that would be an incentive. Now, how long would that take? Who knows? You know, it might even be to the point where they end up selling Alita, maybe to somebody like Paramount or Universal or one of them. And then, but then that would fly in the face of them having to compete with it. And if say they sold it, say they sold it to Paramount, and Paramount put it out and it made $800 million or grossed $800 million, Disney would say, "Damn it, we had that and we let it go." That's probably what would happen if they sold it, you know. And they may realize that too, by the way.
For anyone thinking Disney wouldn't fuck over their best franchise, reminder that for a while their most beloved and pretty well-earning show, at least one of their most beloved shows was The Owl House, and they still shortened that.
What we should know is what Disney expects from a greenlighting of the Alita sequels. What not in the only in the from the point of view of money making, but what does what's the reason for the delay or for the current situation, and what would they expect from an Alita sequel or more Alita sequels?
Well, you know, it could, to your point, or to your question, I think it could come down to this. You remember there was a rumor that Bob Iger told James Cameron, if you want an Alita sequel, you have to direct it. Now, if that's the case, if that's true, that he's busy with the avatars right now, so he's not going to do an Alita sequel. If that rumor was true, and I don't know if it's true or not, but that would be one reason it might be being held up, you know. So
yeah, but this is a very weak reason, I think. Iger has to present his business plans on other points than this. Yeah.
You would think, although, you know, I've also heard that executives are getting involved in the creative process and it's not working. So yeah, that's the case.
Yeah, okay. I would agree with this. Yeah. At the end, we need to know the real facts, the real plans.
We don't know them. That's right.
So the next question for us as fandom, as Alita Army, would be, how can we support this expectations?
You're way ahead of me on that. I got that's coming up later on. I got a little.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. All right. Well, let's move off on that one. If they started, what would be if they greenlit an Alita sequel? What would be the earliest that production would begin? Well, I think some of the problems that would be is, of course, you got to get the actors in line. You know, I mean, they're all doing different projects and stuff like that right now. I know that Rosa Salazar, at least the last time I looked on IMDb, she was on a movie with Marky Mark, is what they call him, you know. And Lakeith Stanfield, I guess, is also in that movie. I can't recall the name of it now, but you know, she's shooting that movie. You know, she just got through, of course, with A Million Miles Away last year, I guess. So she's busy, you know, now. And other actors like Ed Skrein, you know, he's doing what's that? Rebel Moon, I guess. I guess they're coming out with another series or some season of that one. From what I've heard. I'm not sure about that. And of course, you know, probably Christoph Waltz is probably busy. you know, and maybe Jennifer Connelly and others. And you have to get these people together. Their schedules have got to mash, you know. But even if they started shooting, they probably wouldn't start shooting this year. If they did, it would be probably late fall at the earliest. We'd be looking at a 2026 release date more than likely, you know, and that would be the earliest I think we could expect to see it. You know, yeah, and that's right, Bad Man. It'd be a year and a half to 2 years. So that would put it right around 2026, probably summer of 2026. So that would be that's kind of a long way away. But what do you guys think?
Yeah,
Probably not until like long after Avatar. I was about to say Alita 3. I wish. Probably not until like long after Avatar 3 is like well into its run. That would really do that.
Yeah, and of course,
I think 2026 is very, even if it is by the end of the year 2026, it would be very, very early.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's the earliest it would be. Yeah.
I don't think so. Okay.
Yeah. Well, if they started right away, remember there's Jeff Fahey said that, of course, he would want to be in it, and he was going to talk to, I guess, Robert Rodriguez or somebody in Austin, Texas this summer. Maybe we'll see them, Angelus. That maybe they would talk about Alita sequel there, but that talking about it, an actor and a director talking about it is that's not making it, you know, that's not producing it, you know. So if they're just talking about it in the summer of 2024, let's say, then we're talking 2027 then, because they're not going to start shooting it till 2025 more than likely, if that's the case, you know. So I think we're looking at the very earliest, like Smendrick says, it's probably going to be 2026 or beyond, you know, something like that, if they greenlight it. So Sin of Sanity says maybe 3 or 4 years. Well, if it's the James Cameron thing, that's right, because he waits 10 to 15 years between sequels. So although he's not doing that with Avatar now, is he? He's shooting them one right behind the other. So I guess he's breaking his own rule there on that one. So
yeah, but he mentioned his reasons for this. Yeah. It was a special technology developed enough in a quality that he can produce direct the sequels of Avatar. But we don't know his expectations for the Alita sequels. Maybe he wants to try new technologies, better technologies, maybe AI supported. Yeah, maybe
that could
better, be. Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah, well, I will say this: that could be, but the fact that Cameron sold his place, I don't know if he sold it yet or not, but the fact that he's selling, or maybe have already sold his place in California to move to Texas, you know, near Troublemaker Studios. He said that to Forbes, that he was going to do that and work on the Alita sequels. That's where we get this Alita sequels hashtag now. So, you know, it's at least the treatment's being worked on at the very least, I would think, you know. So any thoughts, Angelus, Chaos, or Channel?
I don't really have much to say at this moment.
Yeah. Okay.
Other than, you know, work on doing it before it's released so that you have something to be hyped on the subject.
Yep. Well, hopefully that's where we'll come in. You know, there's nearly 180,000 of us. All right. Well, I guess we can move on to the next one. How long would it take to produce a sequel? Well, you know, if they greenlight it and they get everybody together and everybody's ready to go, 3 months, maybe 4 tops, I would think. That would be the production part. they'd have to go into pre-production planning. They'd have to go into post. They would have to shoot some pickups, you know, stuff like that. So it might take a year. I don't know how long. Angelus, do you remember how long it took for them to shoot the first movie? Because I remember it was originally planned for a release in 2018, wasn't it? Is that right?
No, I don't remember.
Yeah. So any thoughts, Channel? What do you think? Several months at least, I would think. Okay, well, we can move on this.
First, when I looked up at this, I went, "Oh, finally, Alita AI art that actually looks like Alita."
Yes, cute. Anyway, looks like she's got the right number of fingers and toes, at least. Not 6 fingers, you know, and 3 toes, you know, stuff like that. So,
yeah, in my opinion, all depends on the availability of the actors and actresses, of the technology they want to use to produce this sequels or the next sequel. I don't have a concrete idea how long it would take to produce this.
Probably depends on the script, you know.
We don't know much about it
I
at
think
the
it would
moment.
take several months. I think that's just my gut feeling, you know.
Yeah, I would expect, but don't nail me. 6 months, maybe.
I think it probably takes a little less than that, but but it could take that if it's a 3-hour movie and they have to shoot a lot of pickups, you know. Well, look how long it's taken them to get Captain America 4 out. I mean, it's been over a year, and these people are still messing with it. So
exactly.
Yeah, here's one bad man says if they have problems getting the actors together, can't we just get Andy Serkis to mocap all of them and they can dub it in post? He would probably like that. It'd be a lot of money, wouldn't it, for him? So that's pretty funny. Yeah, it depends on location as well, too, you know, especially if they do a lot of traveling. If they go to New Zealand, then to Austin, Texas, then they go to UK, then they go maybe to South Africa. They kind of do that stuff. That would add time to it for sure, I think. All right. Here's a possible sore subject. Who would direct it? I know who I would want to direct it.
I had a friend who said that if Rodriguez, she's definitely going to go. She might as well just drag some friends who barely want to go. She will definitely go with me. She might as well go 2 or 3 times. But if it's Cameron, she's not going.
Why do you say that, Channel? I'm not.
She just really dislikes Cameron's type of storytelling. She thinks it's really boring. It's too repetitive cliche. But she really likes Rodriguez, so she decided if Rodriguez, that she's definitely gonna go. If it's Cameron, that it's kind of sink for her.
Who are you talking about? Is this Lady Calagridis? No, who doesn't like Cameron's storytelling? I guess that's my question.
My friend.
I thought you were talking about. Yeah.
She kind of surprised me about how she immediately had an opinion on the movie based on which one of them was directing it.
I don't know. Cameron's a pretty good director.
And she asked me, was Cameron the first one? I said, yes, he was. Mostly Rodriguez, though. And she said, okay, you can tell. That's why it was a good movie.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I kind of disagree with that. I think Cameron does. I mean, he wrote he and Calogridis wrote the screenplay. Now, granted, Rodriguez trimmed it down from like, what, 1,200 pages down to 600, wasn't it? Or something like that. So, yeah.
What I think is, for me, it's no discussion. Double R should direct it.
Mm-hmm.
And this has a very special reason. I think we in the Alita army also have the manga in our view. And the manga is much darker than those stories we it's not family friendly.
No, it is not.
I would say Rob Roth is the right person for those dark stories. Okay, Terminator was also a dark story, yeah. But yeah.
Yeah,
it's less family friendly.
Yeah, I would like Rodriguez to direct it as well. You know, I mean, I do think this though. I think if Cameron was to go to Disney and says, "Okay, I'm going to take a very active hand in Alita," the Robert Rodriguez is going to he's going to direct it, but I'm going to be right there. We're going to be like co-directors almost, which is maybe too many cooks in the kitchen in that case, but. You know, I think he took a more active role in it, that would probably be a good marketing, you know, kind of message to put out, you know, to the public, you know, that, from the director of Avatar, Way of Water and all that comes Alita Fallen Angel, you know, stuff like that, you know, and put together a good trailer. I think it would really work. Makaku is pretty much as soon as they open the first volume and the backstory is being ugly, flushed with, yeah.
I think Rodriguez, not because I hate Cameron as much as like my friend does so much, but because he was mostly the one in the first movie. So if we want a more coherent vision, then it's probably him. Plus, Cameron's just too busy with the avatars.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
If he were to also do Alita, I mean, unlikely, but if he were, he'd be splitting his attention between Alita and the avatars.
Yeah.
So it's better to just have someone who's fully on in the Alita ship, instead of just dragging themselves away from the real passion project to tap away.
Yeah, I think if Rodriguez was really heavily involved with it, not Rodriguez, Cameron, if he was heavily involved with it, but Rodriguez was taking the lead on directing, I think that would be okay. But I agree with you. I think I'd like to have Rod direct it as well. So
what I'm interested in is the opinions of the entire staff from the first movie. The actresses and actors, all the technicians, and so on.
Yeah,
and that would be very interesting to know this.
Yeah, well, they were. I remember when we interviewed Elle Lamont, she said it was like family on the set, wasn't it? So that's a big plus, I guess. So. Badman says that Disney has done some non-family friendly stuff, and he names Miramax and Buena Vista. But also, there was back in the '90s, there was Touchstone Pictures too. They did some non-Disney stuff, you know, because they had darker themes, I guess, or plots. But yeah, I mean, if 20th Century does it, Disney's off the hook in terms of their brand. You know, putting out a dark. Or, you know, even if they made it R, which I think it'd be a mistake to make Alita R, I think it would have to be PG-13 again, you know. But, okay, I think we all agree we want Rob Rod to direct it, right?
Yes.
Anybody got a preference? Anybody would prefer Cam to direct it? Well, I guess I'll take that as no. Okay, here's an important question. Can and will Rosa play Alita?
Yes.
I believe she will.
Yes.
I think
No discussion.
that's a no-brainer right there. I think she wants to do Alita again, because she's always given us shout outs, and every time she goes to something like on Undone, or she did this last one she was in, I can't remember, they got off on Alita again, and she's yeah, that's a good thing. Or that guy Valdez too might be executive producer as well, Bad Man. So David Valdez, I think, is who it was. Yeah, I think Alita has said that she would play. I mean, Alita. Well, Rosa is Alita, and Alita is Rosa. That's for sure. But Rosa did say she would play Alita as long as, for the rest of her life, if she could. And if with CGI, I think she could do it. Because Rosa is really an accomplished actor. She's really good. So. We may not be having this discussion at all if somebody else played Alita in the first movie, because I think Rosa just knocked it out of the park, in terms of being Alita, Rosalita, that's right. All right, guys, let's keep moving on, I guess. We've talked about this a little bit before. Would Hugo be resurrected?
He shouldn't be. Maybe you can show flashbacks of him, but don't actually resurrect him.
Yeah, don't do that. I agree.
Because here's the thing. When you have a show where resurrection is possible, unless you play it really well, death kind of becomes meaningless. You only have so many resurrections before people just stop caring about death and care, instead of reactions to death being like, oh no, we'll never see him again. There was so much to find out to see. Instead, reactions to death become, okay, so when's he coming back? Like 2 chapters, 2 volumes. So there's a limit.
Here's the thing.
Okay, and
they aren't all equal. No, but they aren't all equal. Hugo is a motivation by the fact that he's gone. Okay, yeah, it's like you don't bring back Uncle Ben from the dead in Spider-Man. You just don't do that. Uncle Ben being dead is the whole motivation. Yeah, and Hugo's like that too.
He's fulfilled his narrative purpose by dying.
Yeah, I would like to see a flashback. I definitely would, especially that motorball training scene that they cut out of it. That'd be kind of cool to see that one, But yeah, he needs to stay dead, I think. Yeah, we don't. It's not that we don't like him, but he needs
flashbacks of him, but don't actually resurrect him. It just cheapens the emotional blow from the ending of the first movie.
What I think is, I also want to see Tanji back.
I don't know how that's gonna
as a flashback. I want to see the all in a flashback.
Yeah, that's
the
right.
early days of this gang, of the entire street gang, including Kiyomi, and all these kids, let's say kids, related also to the manga narratives.
Yeah.
But the kids, the gang's not really from the manga. Like Koyomi's a character from the manga, but she was a different, way younger than Hugo. She was never in his jacking gang crew. Well, he did have a friend named Tanji. He appears on he has in 2 scenes and has 5 lines of dialogue altogether, dies immediately, and we never find out much about him aside from he's Hugo's friend, that he's a jacker. So if you want, you absolutely could do a backstory for Hugo and the other 2, especially if you're gonna use Koyomi as a major character, then you can use that as her new backstory. But you'd have to make it new material because
I think so. Yeah.
Unless you try to reconcile with Koyomi's backstory in the manga.
Yeah. Badman asks, they make 2 cyborgs out of Tanji, and my answer to that would be, I hope not, because he's only got 1 brain, so I don't know how they'd make that work. But I think Tanji is not a major character anyway. He was in the manga, but he's not. He's just it's barely a cameo, even. You know, so I don't see Tanji coming back unless, like you guys say, they did some kind of prequel or flashback, you know, of the gang. You know, if they want to do that in the movie verse, not the manga verse, that I could see that. You know, but no, I don't see Tanji being made a cyborg, nor do I think he would come back either, because he's not a major enough character, I don't think.
Okay.
All right, well, let's move on then. Here's one that we've kind of touched on a couple of times before, whether or not Alita would have her berserker body in the sequel, okay? And I think Odd John once said that they have to do that. I'm not sure about that, you know, but they could. What do you guys think? Should both Alita and Zapan have berserker bodies, or should they just stick to the manga and only have Zapan have the berserker body?
I'd say, yeah, be like the manga, because it kind of cheapens the fact that you can reproduce the berserker body this early.
I think only Japan, but for different reasons. Because Alita has better control over the berserker. If you put Japan in a berserker, he has no idea what he's doing, and Alita in a berserker, she was trained to use. The battle is it's way too obvious Alita's gonna win. And like we know Alita's gonna win because she's the protagonist, but we want to see her struggle along the way. But if you put her in a berserker, put her opponent in a berserker, and it's Alita in a berserker in a one-on-one with absolutely anybody is pretty much a guaranteed victory for Alita. So if you want to have her struggle, you have to take her out of the berserker and put her in some other body that's strong, but not as overpowered.
Yeah,
not as experienced with fighting, and because she has a lot of experience doing sports and like fighting during the matches doesn't mean that immediately it's the same as experience in actual.
Well, she was
the actual type of combat she would be having with a berserker.
Well, she was in the military. I mean, so
I'm not saying she has no military training. She absolutely does. She knows how to fight, and that clearly translates between bodies. But a body that's not her main, the one that she's best in fighting at. When there's actually a bit of struggle when she fights in it.
Yeah, she's got to be like the underdog, doesn't she, when she fights Zerker-Pan? And if they write it real well, it's going to be like she almost gets killed, but she kills him, kills Zerker-Pan, you know, or something like that. If you make
your underdog too badass, they stop being an underdog.
Yeah, well, if you make it where she almost gets killed,
becomes their backstory. If you make them eventually make them too badass.
Okay. So what do y'all think?
That's the problem that Alita hit in Last Order. You don't want her to hit it that early before she even leaves the scrapyard.
Okay. I just feel too that the important part about the story was that Alita made the mistake of thinking the berserker body was secure, and you know the way they set it up in the manga made it actually have weight as an actual mistake. It wasn't just something that they just resolved real quickly and made it a superficial mistake. It was a mistake.
Well, didn't Ed sell it?
Yeah, she thought it was secure with Ed, but Ed was a drug addict. He was probably going to sell that off.
Yeah, that's right.
He could have at least sold it off to someone who wasn't Nova.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, I think we all agree that we only want to see Zapan get the berserker body, and Alita is going to be in the civilian body when she fights him. So, and you know, to that point too as well. I think they need to be faithful to the manga. You know, in the sequels, if they greenlight them, they need to stay. They don't have to copy it exactly, but it's got to be the same general theme. I think, because if they don't, it's gonna, you know, it's not gonna ring true to the fans, I think. So, okay. Will Figure 4 be at the end of Alita 2, or will he be in Alita 3? And who do we want to play him? Smendrick, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm laughing. Yeah, I think it's really necessary to introduce Figure 4 in one of these sequels.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I don't know much about the scripts and how close they are to the manga version. Yeah, and so I'm not really sure. Yeah, we have so much interesting characters in the manga.
Yeah.
I would like to see him, of course. Yeah, I always would like to see new characters from the manga. Yeah.
All right.
Maybe.
Well, who do you want to see play him, Smendrick?
That's. I'm in the phase of selection. I'm still selecting actors for this character.
What do you think, Angelus? Where do you think Figure 4 ought to come in, and who should play him?
I would probably lean towards coming in. Well, they already said they were planning to introduce Den and Chaos in the second, so I'm guessing the third or like close to the end of the second.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought as well. What do you think, Channel?
Not a lot of thoughts on this one. Ending of the second movie sounds good, but that idea was already explained by someone else.
Yeah, I agree. Well, Channel, who do you want to see play Figure 4?
I usually don't memorize the last names of actors.
Oh, okay. Well, what other movies has he played in? And we can tell us that character.
And I generally don't really. No, I don't have a specific actor in mind.
Oh, okay. What about you, Angelus?
Oh, I was leaning towards Scott Adkins, but for Figure 4. But now I'm also thinking a lesser-known actor called Frank Grillo. He was in a movie that's again not too well known. They might like lean in his favor, but in a recent movie called Boss Level.
Yeah. Is he the guy that played? Did he play Rumlow in Captain America: Civil War, or did he, or the Captain America 2? Did he play one of the SHIELD agents?
I think so, actually.
Yeah, I think I know who you're talking about. Yeah, he'd be pretty good. I personally, I would like to see Jason Momoa be Figure 4. I mean, he's got the natural build for it. Of course, they can bulk him up pretty easy, but he's got the natural build for it. Plus, he is Polynesian, so he could pass for a Native American, which is what I think Figure 4 is. I think he's an American Indian myself, but of course I'd think that. And I think I kind of agree that I think Figure 4 would come in toward the end of Alita 2 when she after she meets him on the atomic train or something like that, like kind of like in the manga. That's what I think. So okay, will we see the Imaginos body?
We have to.
If they do, it's going to have to be Alita 4 or 5 or 6 because I don't believe they can bring it in, on the Badlands arc, which would be Alita 3. What do you think, Channel?
In which part?
The Imaginos body. When do you think they would, if they were going to try to bring it in, or will they try to bring it in? The Imaginos body.
Probably will if they get to that point. Yeah. Although I do think they will simplify, depending on how much the fandom will develop, they might just simplify without the different types of Imaginos, so it's easier for people to follow along. Although, if they make movies and the series separate things, the Imaginos might become a series exclusive, or it might appear in some movie without, because honestly not sure. Honestly not sure, because the movies already, the slight difference in the movie already demand some canon divergence from the manga, meaning that depending on how they handle the second movie, that will completely change how fast they can or they should introduce the Imaginos body. I think if they get to that point, they eventually will introduce it if they can, but at what point, I have no idea.
Yeah. See, I tend to think
just straight up replace the tuned body with the Imaginos body if Nova gets really involved.
Yeah, that's what I think. Because I think in Alita 3 is when it'll be the tuned body. I mean, we may see the tuned body at the end of Alita 2, and then the tuned body will be through Alita 3. And then if we were going to see the Imaginos body, maybe not Imaginos 2.1 like this is, but say Imaginos 1.0, if that one, they would have to do something similar to the baby bomb thing at the end of Alita 3.
I just got that. What if they had this thing where in each movie, the last scene has Alita in a body that she didn't wear before in the movie, but it's gonna be the main body for the next movie. So at the ending of the first movie, we have this brief scene in a butterball body that we don't see anywhere earlier in the movie, like the one that people were trying to figure out if that's a new body or just a modified berserker. That's the butterball body, and that's gonna be a body that's used for a lot of the second movie. At the very ending of the second movie, we see briefly in the tuned body, and that's gonna be her main body for the third movie. And at the ending of the third movie, we briefly see the Imaginos.
Yeah, I think I agree with you 100%. That's when I think it'll be. What do you think, Angelus?
I feel in a way that they'd have to. But I don't see Cameron not thinking I really should get the berserker body. That's a good one. The Imaginos body in there. I can't see him not doing it, basically.
Particularly if it pertains to technology, doesn't it? He's going to want to do that. Yeah. Smendrick, you got any ideas about that? Whether we'll see the Imaginos body in either Alita 2, probably not Alita 2, but 3.
Yes, as I say, we need to see it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if in the next 2 sequels or in a fork, or it needs its own attention. And an arc, a story around this body.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if it's good to bring it in the trilogy, but
Well, it would be kind of like Channel said, you know, they like at the end of the movie, Alita Battle Angel,
Yeah,
they brought in
maybe,
the motorball
maybe
body,
this.
and they could do that at Alita 3 at the very end. They bring in Imaginos 1.0, you know. So
yeah, kind of teaser. Okay.
yeah.
But it needs to be it needs its own attention.
Yeah.
Okay.
By the way, Badman, the Imaginos body is not like, well, it's kind of like T1000 in some ways, but the Imaginos body is a lot more powerful than the T1000. It's it could be anything that Alita wants it to be. I mean, you know, you could see, well, that's 2.1 there. She grew wings out of that thing, you know. So I mean, and it's OP for sure. You know, the T1000 was pretty powerful for sure, but it would, I guess the Imaginos body would reflect light if she wanted it to, you know, if that was part of what she was, if that's kind of what her imagination took her to do. That's why it's called
In the introduction to the Imaginos body, Nova explains to her, tells her to change the color of her arm to her favorite color as a testing if the body works.
Yes.
And mentions that with enough training, you can use it to do camouflage, like mimesis with the body. So I'm not sure if you can literally turn it translucent, or as in sense what's or as in figure out really well what's around you and blend in with by projecting the colors onto your body.
Yeah.
But that is a confirmed thing that in the manga the body could do if you trained enough.
Yeah. Yeah, because Alita had to learn it, didn't she? She had to learn how to use it. So
she was she got her arm ripped off in a fight. I don't remember if she got it ripped off or she ripped it off herself. But after the arm was reattached, she was complaining that it's sore. The body got too realistic. Now, if you get your arm ripped off and then if you sew it back on, it kind of leave it to heal a bit. She did not ask for this level of realism. She did not ask for muscle pains. She has already problems already.
Yeah. Well, Angelus, do you think we'll see the Imaginos body?
100%. I mean, with whether at his disposal, I can't see, like I said, I can't see Cameron not doing it.
Yeah. I think it would come in at the end of the third movie, though. Because the more bodies we see Rosa in or Alita in, the better, right? I mean, we saw her in 3 bodies, you know, in the movie. If we see her in like maybe 2-3 bodies in the second movie, we could see that in the third movie. So, I mean, yeah, why not? You know,
it's a very high requirement for Rosa to play this character development in the Imaginos Imaginos body.
Yeah.
The reason is she has to learn new fighting techniques.
Yeah. Or adapt Panzer Kunst to it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very, very high requirement for her as actress.
Yeah. And Badman Zex was in the Fizzoroy body, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure because cutting off an arm on a Imaginos body, I'm not sure. I think you can regrow one, I think, from what I remember. So, but yeah, Zex was in the Fizzoroy body, so I guess you could cut his arm off, maybe. All right. Here's an important question. Do you think Alita will defeat Nova?
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah. Depends on whether it's in the third movie or not, whether they want to.
She's definitely gonna defeat him temporarily. Whether they're gonna defeat him for good or they do have the little team up, not sure, but she will defeat him temporarily. Mm-hmm. You need to give your viewers some kind of catharsis.
Yeah. Well, she does cut his head off, doesn't she, in the manga, and he comes back to life. You know, that was, she said, remember, she looked at him like, I thought I killed you. It was funny. Yeah, imagine. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Zex was in the tuned body. That's right. He was a replicant. That's exactly right. So yeah, you're right, bad man. I stand corrected. But Zex in the in the Last Order in the Zot, he was in the Fizzeroy body. So yeah, but he was in the tuned body in the Badlands arc. That's for sure. Okay. Well, we come to, I think Smendrick brought this up, before, I mean, earlier, what can I do to help get a sequel? Because we got all these questions that we've asked here, and it's all based on our belief that we're going to get the Alita sequels, but that's not going to just happen by itself. Certainly James Cameron and Disney are in the driver's seat there, but certainly we can do some things to help kind of nudge them along maybe. And here they are. I think we've talked about this before. Well, let me go back here and address a couple of these. Yeah, she'll confront him and Nova in the sequel. In the third movie, who knows what they want to do, because it's kind of like Channel was saying a while ago. They could kind of adapt that movie any way they want to, to make as long as it's faithful to the manga, we're going to be okay with it. Yeah, we don't know how strong Nova is in the movie. That's right, Finn, because we only saw him in two places. We saw him as a hologram, when Gelda and Alita were training in the gravity chamber, and we saw him at the end of the movie when Alita was pointing the Damascus blade at him, So, yeah, we don't know for sure how strong he is, So, what can I do to help get a sequel? Well, all of us in the Alita army can be doing our part. Now, it doesn't mean you have to do everything that everybody else is doing. You don't necessarily have to start a YouTube channel. If you're an artist, do some Alita art, and post it on social media. Do that. I mean, that's great. If you can do videos, I know Chaos Nova does videos,
and to everyone who likes to on platforms that allow reblogs or reposts, prioritize art drawn by artists over AI art.
Yes.
There's nothing as disheartening as seeing, I mean, there's a lot of things really disheartening, but there's few things as discouraging from art as seeing that AI art is getting way more, as in people seem to like AI art way more than what you're doing, because why waste 4 hours on drawing this when I could just get it thrown up by an algorithm in 15 seconds?
Well, here's the thing.
4 hours of my life.
Well, here's the thing about that. To me, if you're an artist, it would be a lot more fun to draw Alita than it would be just type in a description of her or a narrative and have something else render it.
Yes, it is fun, and that's why people draw it at all. Like,
yeah,
it's, if you really enjoy it, you will enjoy it even if no one else is praising you. But it still feels nice to be encouraged by someone else, because if a lot of the Alita artists, they just, if it feels like no one wants to see Alita art that isn't AI, they're just gonna focus on something else. Or if they really want to draw Alita, they're just not gonna post it, because why bother posting it?
Yeah. Let me answer Finn's question here, and we can all answer this. There is several versions of Nova in the manga. There's Supernova, there's Destinova.
The Novas are differentiated by their haircuts, surprisingly.
Yeah, that's pretty much. Yeah.
The later the Nova appears in the series, the curlier his hair gets.
That's right.
And then Supernova. There's the stupid haircut from the movie. Yes. Why is it so straight?
So I don't think, Finn, you can say they're the same guy, because there are several versions of him, So and there's some clones of him too as well. Or at least he made I don't know, Channel or Angelus or Smendrick, do you know how many clones he made of himself? I mean, they weren't as smart as him, but they were.
I think they
he purposefully made them dumber so they wouldn't overthrow him, and they overthrew him.
Yes.
By sheer numbers.
Yeah.
And with the help of Ido.
Yep. Yeah, that's right. Supernova has the oldest brain chips. It's going to have more memories and all that stuff. So, yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, getting back to the how can I help with a sequel? One thing I would also encourage, I think Channel would agree with this, if you see art on social media, you know, comment on it, and you know, if you really like the art, then you know, compliment the artists on it, click like on it, and retweet that thing or repost it. You know, and that way, it's not just that you're complimenting the artists and they appreciate that, but by reposting it, other people see it. You know, so that's a way you can also.
That's my point.
And one thing, reposting as in like the function repost or reblog, not as in copy paste.
Yeah. Don't. Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you feel the need to copy paste onto a different into a different site, ask the artist first, or some artists just have a never repost or a repost only with credit. If they have it written, then respect that. So either if they have repost with credit, then repost with a link to the original, and if it's never repost, then just accept that that's the author's wishes. And if it's not stated, then DM the author or ask in the comments if you can repost somewhere.
Yes.
But
well, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just wanted to say that it should have been obvious, but apparently it's not. Even weirder, there's been this phenomenon that artists observed. Usually, when there's a repost done in the copy paste form, the repost gets better attention and more interactions than the original post. Some artists
well, because
on
more
Twitter
people see it. Yeah, more people see it.
Some artists on Twitter even made an experiment where they post their own art, admitting it's their own art, and then they do it on a separate account. They don't say the same account on a separate account. They post the same art while writing "Who did this?" or "I found this, not sure who did this," or "But it's pretty." And they get a lot more interaction when they say they don't know who did this than when they admit they're the ones who did it.
Yes.
There's a potential explanation that people feel more comfortable discussing art with some random who also like the art than with the artists themselves. Kinda.
Oh,
one thing I would
point.
Yes. Well, one thing I would say too.
It's sad that artists have to pretend not to know who drew their own art to get people's actual reaction to it.
Well, certainly the artist should sign their art. That's for sure. They should do that. But if you're going to say, like I do, if you put art in a video or something like that, and you know who what the social media username is or something like that, put that on there. Include that. I mean, don't just, I mean, I've done this, because out of ignorance, but I've done art videos where I didn't know who it was because I saw it on a repost. I didn't see it, from the original. Now people like Paul Entitled and those folks, they sign their art, so. And Paul's pretty good about it too. If you want to use his art, he'll say, yeah, it's fine. Go ahead and use it, so he's pretty good about that. But yeah,
some artists don't mind. That's why I'm not saying never do it. I'm saying check in with the wishes of the artist.
Yeah, because it's like the channel says, they may not want you to do that. So, I mean, it's not like they can sue you or anything, but you're not respecting them if you do it. So, just be respectful. Badman has a good point here, is that AI messes up the hands a lot of time. It does. Now, I think it is getting better at it. We saw that one picture back a while ago, of
I noticed AI has gotten a lot better at hands.
Yeah, because at one time it would put 6 and 7 fingers on her hand. They'd have like 5. They'd have like 3 toes, or they'd have 6 toes or something like that. And they'd have the thumb in the wrong position, stuff like that, or at a weird angle. But I think it is getting better at it. That said, you know, when I do an AI video, I try not to. I think I let one get by me on the last video, but if I see a video, see a AI image that has 6 fingers, I don't use it. I don't care how good the rest of her face looks or what her eyes look like. If they're perfect brown, I don't use it because I want 5 fingers and 5 toes. That's what I want. And brown eyes, big brown eyes, not blue eyes, not green eyes, not little eyes, but big brown eyes like Alita's. So, okay. Yeah, some people do have 6 or 7 fingers, but that's not the norm, and that's not Alita. Also, so, but you're right. That's not entirely wrong because some folks have a genetic mutation that'll give them more than 5 digits, you know. But Alita has 5 digits on each hand and on each foot. She's got 5 fingers and 5 toes. So there you have it. Of course, she's a cyborg, so she can have as many fingers and toes as she wants, I guess. You know, I reckon. So anyway. Okay. I guess we hit that one pretty good. Photos of Hot Toys Alita. If you have a Hot Toys Alita, let's say, you know, and I know Vladi's real good about this. Alex Lita's real good. And there's some studios that'll use Hot Toys Alita. You know, they'll take pictures. Like in my last Hot Toys Alita video, there was one called Jingo Bell Photography, and they signed their photos, you know. If you see that, click and you like it. Now, I don't mean you should arbitrarily do this. If you don't like the picture, don't like it. You know, if you don't have to dislike it for sure. But if you really like the picture, click like on it and repost it. You know, repost it with the repost button. Don't copy and paste it and send it out yourself. You know, just repost it, kind of like you would treat art, you know. Buy and read the manga. Yeah, you should do that. You know, now, not everybody's going to have every volume of the manga. You know, I mean, I think Angelus and I have every single volume of the manga, both the Mars Chronicles, the original manga, and the Last Order. But not everybody can do that. But I think you should at least buy at least buy the original manga, you know, whether it's the Viz version or if it's the box set. That's fine. They both they're fairly close. I mean, the translations are somewhat different, but the theme is pretty close, you know. Yeah, I encourage you to do it if you can afford it. You know, if you can't afford it, you know, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal.
But wait, Greek.
Yeah.
How do you think this, especially this buying manga, talking about the manga, and so on, could help to get the sequel? This action, buying, collecting, talking about the manga, isn't recognized in any way by Disney. And Disney is the decision maker, not Yukito Kishiro or social media discussions about the manga.
Yeah, so, I do agree with you on that. But what I would say, though, is that certainly, we lost Angelus. Look at that. So anyway, I do think, though, they may be aware if the manga was being bought in large numbers, they would be aware of it. I would think at least somebody in their research department should be, you know, I mean, and it would be more of an indirect influence here. You're right. It wouldn't be a direct influence. Bob Iger is not going to make a decision on doing a green light on the sequel based on somebody reading the manga. He's not going to do that, you know, because he probably doesn't care about it. But I would say if Disney was somehow made aware of how many people had copies of the manga and was reading it, that might just be another supporting piece of information for them, you know, that maybe this Alita character is more popular than we thought, you know, maybe. That's just my opinion, though. It's not based on data or anything like that. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Someone dropped off. Okay, I was dropped off.
Did you have a thought there, Channel? You wanted to?
No, I just noticed that Chaos left the stream.
Oh yeah, he was already he left some time ago. The Kindle version still maybe yeah, I think they are on Amazon. That's right. You can even buy things like you can buy those Funko Pop Alitas on Amazon, because I bought 3 of them and I'm got them right now. They're on consignment in Anime World. We'll talk about that tomorrow, I guess. Anyway, watch the live streams. Certainly Radio Chaos in this stream. Of course, I want you to watch this stream. But Chaos Nova has a stream. I've seen other Alita Army folks do streams. I haven't seen a lot of it recently, though. And I haven't seen a lot of folks doing too many videos. Now, I would say this, though. I have seen a lot of shorts, and we do see, well, let me take that back. I think we do see more creators doing videos because they know we're here and we're going to watch it, So I think that's, but the more videos you post like that, that might be another indicator. May not be a direct influence on Disney, but if Disney has got any presence on social media at all, and they see these Alita videos popping up on different platforms, who knows? It might sway their decision, I guess. And if you're a good writer, write a letter to Disney, Bob Iger, and you can look up I think it's on, it's in Century City, I think. Oh, you could look it up, or it's in Burbank, California. I can't remember the exact address. But anyway, write a letter to Bob Iger. I mean, maybe he'll read it, maybe he won't. But if you write a letter and say, hey, I'm in the Alita Army, I want to see an Alita sequel, please give me one, and be respectful of it. Don't get in his face, don't cuss him out in the letter, be respectful and tell him why you want to see the sequel. Who knows? It just might turn him. You might say, well, maybe there's something to this or something, In any campaign we do, participate in it. Like the Hero Arm campaign is an example, or the Alita sequel petition. If you haven't signed that one, of course, you want to sign it, but I bet most of you here have signed it. But in the case of the Hero Arm campaign, if you can't donate money, that's fine. But if you see a post, of a promotion of it, repost it. Like it and repost it. You don't have to comment on it or anything. Just like it and repost it, and you will have done your part. Anything else you guys can think of about how we could help get an Alita sequel that's not up there on the screen?
Yes,
excellent.
I have one idea. This is related to the Alita Army as an organized fandom.
Okay.
Maybe 1 or 2 guys who are familiar with these procedures should get in contact with journals and other important people from cinema-related magazines, online platforms, and so on. I don't have the right word. Sorry for this.
That's right.
But we should improve our presentation as a fandom.
Okay.
Maybe you have another opinion, but maybe this could help. What do you think?
Crappy question, but how long is this going? I'm not saying we should end now. I'm just saying it's almost 2 a.m. So if it's gonna keep going on for like half an hour longer, I might drop off now and just go to bed. I'm not saying it hasn't been fun talking with you. I'm just saying I'm kind of tired.
Yeah, we're probably going to wrap it up here in the next 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
folks.
Maybe we can discuss this in another stream. But
I mean, I'm not saying the subject isn't interesting or that
Yeah.
you're.
yeah, it's okay.
But it's late. Yes, I got
Yeah,
you.
very late. Yeah.
Yes, I understand.
Yeah, I had
just,
to get up early today, so I'm
Okay.
not gonna just stay up till 4 in the
Okay.
morning.
Well, let me answer Smendrick's question if I can, and then we can move on. What I would say, Smendrick, is yeah, if like going to the cinema or a cinema that would allow you to, let's say, rent, one of their theaters. I don't mean the whole theater. I mean one of the venues. One of the screens. And a lot of theaters will do this. Not all of them, but a lot of them will. And they will play the movie, and you bring friends in, whatever you got, whatever the agreement you would have with them, but sponsor a reselling or what's the word am I looking for here?
Re-release.
A viewing, yeah, a mini re-release or viewing of the movie. I think that's certainly appropriate. And you could do something like, show the anime after the movie or something like that. Just do 2 of them if you want. A lot of movies will do that. A lot of theaters, some theaters won't, but now be careful when you do this, because their agreement's going to require you to do things like, perhaps not all movies, but some may say, well, you got to clean up the theater after your folks leave. Well, no, that's your job. Number 2, you got to buy all the concessions. You got to pay X number of dollars. No, if they want a concession, they'll buy it from you. I'm just paying to rent the space, but some movies, their movies are different. They do it different ways. So anyway, that's another good way you could do it for sure.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, let's move on, because I know it's getting late there in Europe. So, and there, I guess we've kind of answered all the questions. I guess we don't need to drag this out any further, perhaps. What is this? Bring Alita to cinema again. How long would it take them? Okay. How many we actually see it? Well, that depends, I guess, Finn. If you invited a lot of your friends and all that, or if where you work, let's say you might, you might have all your work buddies go to see the movie. I don't know. It depends. It just depends on how many people you want to invite to it, or you could offer it as a free showing, and then folks might come see it if it's free, that kind of thing. So
the middle Alita here is cute.
Yes. Yeah, she looks mad though, because she don't have her sequel. So
they made her lips too small, but otherwise just so cute. They over cutified her.
Yeah, they did.
I know that's based off the movie. So okay, the movie one had small lips. So
yeah,
criticism retracted. It's just movie accurate chibification of the face.
Well, I think most of the images of our girl are cute. That's for sure, and that one certainly is. So,
and this is a different type of cute.
Yes.
Not saying it's cuter. It's just a different.
Yes,
type.
I agree. I agree.
She has the face of a chibi, but she's still got muscles.
Yeah, she does. Yep. Okay. Well, did we miss anything? I don't think so. And it's getting late, so we're going to move on. But as you see from this middle image there, Alita does love her Uncle Creek, and that's because he wants the sequels. And I think all of us in the Alita army want the sequels.
Yep.
And here is our queen, Rosa. And then, as I say every week, she is #1 in the Creeks book in terms of being an actress, because she really made Alita work on the screen. That's for sure, man. She did a great job on that. I also want to give shout outs to El Lamont and Jesse Fisher. They brought Screwhead to life, and we want to see Screwhead in the sequel. Certainly, I would like to see her team up with Alita on Alita's motorball team when they take on Joshigan. And of course, as I say every week, these 3 are consummate professionals. They're really good at what they do, but it sure doesn't hurt that they're pretty. So Tomorrow on Radio Chaos, we are going to talk about how in the hell do you get to Zalem? we know of one way, don't we? They chop you up to bits and put you in a box and ship you up there. You know, if you're like Shirin, that is, you know, I don't know who's going to be the host, if it's going to be Angelus or if it's going to be Maxie, but I'll be managing the stream. So we're going to have a stream. So just kind of, you know, check us out on that one. All right. Why is this image here? Well, that image is there because I like it and I'm running the stream. And as to paraphrase Gruishka, I'm only here for our girl and the Alita Army. And of course, all of us in the Alita Army are only here for our girl. We want those sequels, Disney. Give them to us. We want them. Okay. And we will help you market that. we will by word of mouth, we'll get people to go to it. And some of us will see it. Many of us will see it many dozens of times. So any last thoughts, Smendrick?
Thank you for the stream. Was a very funny stream. Very interesting stream. And
cool.
Yeah.
Cool. What about you, Channel? Any last thoughts?
It's definitely been nice. It's been fun to talk. Most of the subject mentioned were already brought up in earlier streams.
Yeah.
But I guess it's nice. First of all, we had some of them we didn't hear from everybody here because not everybody that was on today's stream was on those earlier streams. And even if you heard, sometimes it's nice to have a recap of what's the panel's opinion on the topics that are considered generally most important regarding the sequel.
Yes.
It's been fun. If I was less aware during the later questions, again, it's almost 2 a.m. over here.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap it up, Channel. I don't mean to keep you up so late.
Usually 2 a.m. is not a problem for me. Just recently I was trying to fix my sleep schedule, and that resulted in me actually getting tired.
Yeah, well, you know what we could do if you want. What do you guys think about this? We could start this an hour earlier. I know Angelus has a hard enough. Angelus already has a hard enough time getting up, but we can start an hour earlier if you like.
For what? And what's that hour for him?
It's like 8 o'clock in the morning, I think. So he'd be getting up. The stream would start at 7, I think, at his time, 7 in the morning. But that's easier to make than you staying up till 2
hours right now.
Yes. Yeah, we may do that. I think.
Yeah.
I think it would help you guys. So yeah, we'll seriously consider it. But be on the lookout for the post. You know, I'll make sure you guys know about it. So. And I'm going to get on Blue Sky, by the way, Smendrick. So you'll see something on that.
Yeah, you'll find me with the same avatar and the same.
Cool. All right, you guys. So I guess it just leaves one last thing, I guess, and that is to do the call to action, and that would be on my count of 3, and that'd be 1, 2, 3. Film those sequels,
baby.
You got it. All right.
Bye.
So we'll see you next week on the Alita live stream, and we'll see you tomorrow on Radio Chaos. Bye.
Bye.
What's up, Alita Army? This is Hot Toys Alita, and I hope you enjoyed this week's Alita live stream. Please join my Uncle Creek, Angelus, and our other guests for next week's show. Remember, I do not stand by in the presence of evil, and film those sequels, baby. See you next time.